I would have never known that I had thyroid cancer if it wasn't for TikTok. So we're gonna dive all into that today. Hi, I'm Shayna and welcome back to the PCOS Life, where we talk all things PCOS, except for today, where we're talking about my thyroid story. If you're new here, hi, I love you already, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're returning, make sure to leave all your questions and comments down below because I do address them all. Love you guys, and let's jump into it. I want to make this video as short as possible, so I'm gonna go kind of quickly, and if you have questions, I'll make other videos to address those things. During my childhood, growing up, I've always had this like kind of lump right here, to the point where when I was younger I had asked my mom, like, do I have an Adam's apple, like what's going on? But she was like, no, you've always had that, it's normal. I mean, and like, you know, my whole adolescence, my doctors never really brought it up as something of concern, so I don't think my mom ever really thought about it. It wasn't until I made a video on TikTok, actually the first video that ever went viral. I'm gonna need a doctor to explain something to me. So when I was younger, I'm talking like adolescence throughout high school, I ate the worst foods, the absolute worst foods, processed, McDonald's. Like, I had Hot Pockets, cup of noodles, a bunch of Eggo waffles. Homemade meals was fried foods and a bunch of rice. I'm Spanish and Japanese, but I didn't learn that till later. Anyway, point is that I would eat all these bad foods and never drink water. I'm talking months on and never drink water. One time I passed out, had to be hospitalized with an IV because I was severely dehydrated. Never drink water. But the point is, when I was eating like that, I had a clear face and I was super skinny. Now, right, I eat really healthy, absolutely healthy, no fast food. Like, that's a non-negotiable. I drink a bunch of water, I take a bunch of supplements, I work out, and so after a couple of videos where people were saying that, I finally went. So I went to the doctor. It was the year of 2020, and addressed the fact that, like, hey, my thyroid is swollen, I don't know what's going on, I'm concerned. She orders some blood tests, and the blood tests check your TSH levels. My TSH levels came back looking normal, and so she touched around my neck and she could feel this, but she was like, I'm not worried, your TSH levels are normal, and that was it. I was still concerned, but she was like, your levels are normal, so we won't do any further testing. And at the time, I had no idea that you can do an ultrasound for your thyroid or anything like that, so I just listened to the doctor. Always my mistake is just listening to them. So here we are in 2021, finally going back. I get my thyroid, I bring up my thyroid concern with my doctor, and I let her know of the other doctor and, you know, my kind of history and rundown with the medical industry and how I am very aware of my body and I do research and I'm educated about my health and wellness. So she was really good and she ordered the ultrasound right away. So I got an ultrasound in February of 2022 and it came back that I had an abnormal nodule. So my doctor saw that, she ordered a biopsy right away. Now, the biopsy referral took months because the front end of my doctor's office, my primary care, I don't know what their problem is, but they had trouble sending it out to the radiology centers. They tell me they send it, I call Acumen, they tell me they don't have it, and this was months, literally February all the way up until June. I was struggling to get this appointment. So June comes around, I go into Acumen, they have to do another ultrasound so that they can do the biopsy just to kind of see how it was going. It's been a long time, and just for their records and stuff. So we do another ultrasound, and in those months, the nodule has grown. My thyroid itself, because of the nodule, has grown. So we do the biopsy.
Where you feel that, that's where I'll give you a little numbing, okay? So a little pinch on 3, 1, 2, 3, pinch.
Actually didn't feel it, to be honest. The needle itself was thin, so I literally did not feel it go into my skin. But look at the screen, because the screen will show you how freaking deep this needle had to go into my neck. He had to do this 5 times, total of 5 times. Once for the numbing, and then 4 more times to actually get a sample of the nodule. So you see that right there, that needle all the way in my neck. You see his arm here, wiggling the needle around, shoving it in my neck. and you see the screen. It's showing you how long the needle is and exactly what he's doing inside of my neck. They're watching this on an ultrasound. So yeah. And the biopsy comes back that it is papillary carcinoma, thyroid cancer. And it's, I forgot the name, I'm going to put it up here, category 6. How do I say this? Not the worst type of thyroid cancer, because it's definitely not. It's actually one of the most common thyroid cancers, but it is at a stage, the cancer that I have is now at a stage that is dangerous and most likely to spread. The good news is that it spreads slowly, but still it's again at a category or a place where it's most dangerous and most likely to spread. Obviously my first thought was like, what the fuck? Because the doctor's office took months. I'm in the place where I am now where it might have spread. And yeah, so really frustrating because again, if it wasn't for the neglect of the doctor's office, I wouldn't perhaps be in this place where it's a category 6. After I found that out, of course, the next step was to follow up with my primary so she can tell me what is going to happen from here on out. Now, I found out before my doctor told me because I asked the Acumen Center to send the results directly to me, knowing that my primary care and the front end are just really unorganized, and they did send it to me. So I got it on the 22nd of June, the 22nd of June, and we were literally in the middle of moving, and I just pulled over and I was like, what the fuck? And it wasn't that I was scared, but I was just frustrated, like so frustrated at the fact that I put so much energy and time into my health and into my wellness, and yet like slap in the face, diagnosed with cancer. Frustrated also at the neglect from the healthcare system, because here I am and it's progressed, in these last couple of months. But I was also super frustrated because from April to now, I've been experiencing some crazy symptoms, which I'm going to get into the next video, that I don't think are my PCOS. It's not COVID, it's not a flu, but I didn't know if it was for my thyroid. I didn't know what was going on. And of course, again, this could have all just been resolved and addressed much sooner had the doctor's office send the referral like the way that they were supposed to. I got the results, I told my family and stuff, and of course everyone's really supportive. And then I made a TikTok video, addressing everyone, letting them know what was going on, and I had the most support in the world. I got my test results back and it is cancer, thyroid cancer, stage 6, it's papillary carcinoma. Love you all, they're literally watching right now. If you hear from the video, you're over there watching. The next steps were for me to follow up with my primary so she can tell me what I'm supposed to do. So I go to my primary care. Now, of course, I didn't go into that appointment not having done research. You know me. I went in there, addressing those things with her, and of course to ask what the next steps would be. And she was like, well, the first thing is I'm going to refer you to an ENT specialist. The ENT is an ears, nose, and throat. So someone who does allergy type stuff. But they would be the person to do the surgery because they have, really good amount of knowledge about the neck, and there's a lot of important stuff in there. So that would be the person to do my thyroidectomy or partial thyroidectomy. And then after the surgery would be iodine radiation if the cancer had spread to my lymph nodes, because the iodine radiation would target only the thyroid cells and kill the cancer, the remaining cancer. I did more research and I found that the reason they do the iodine radiation is, again, if they have any notion that the cancer has spread to your lymph nodes, but also if the cancer is wrapped around your vocal cords or your trachea, then they might have to do the iodine pills because they can't really surgically remove that from your trachea or your vocal cords without damaging those organs. And I think if that didn't work or wasn't enough, then they would do surgery on those parts that need to be taken out. And so I was like, okay, really great information, good to know. I asked her okay, well, are you going to refer me to an oncologist? Do I get a PET scan so we can make sure that there's no other cancer didn't spread? And this is where I got frustrated because her answer was no. No. Typically what we do is remove the thyroid and see if, all of your symptoms kind of go away and see how you're doing before doing the rest of the stuff. That didn't even make sense to me. shouldn't like the protocol of anyone who has any type of cancer just be, let's do a PET scan just to make sure there's no cancer in the rest of your body for whatever reason? But of course not. So she was like, no, typically we don't refer you to an oncologist. You go to the ENT, they remove it. Then you go to an endocrinologist for follow-ups. And an endocrinologist might send you to an oncologist should you need the iodine radiation. My thing was, no, I'm not waiting. I don't want to wait. I have really bad symptoms now. My doctor said it could be the thyroid cancer, but I read everything online that said it, thyroid cancer only has few symptoms like your throat hurting, trouble swallowing and stuff like that, but no mention, absolutely nothing mentions my symptoms that I was experiencing or the symptoms I am currently experiencing. Really frustrated there. I started crying, and then she gave me a referral to an oncologist anyway. The oncologist ended up not taking my insurance, I think. I reached out to the Clayman Thyroid Cancer Center in Tampa. My mom found them, but people on TikTok also made me aware of them, so thank you, TikTok. Luckily, they called me back and I got in. But before I even knew I was going to be able to be treated by them, I had went to the ENT specialist as my doctor advised. And the ENT specialist kind of went over the treatment and stuff like the surgery and stuff like that. Some of the stuff I learned in the ENT appointment was that I get my full thyroid taken out because of the location of the cancer, which is in the isthmus, which is the middle part of the thyroid, and because of the size, which is 3.3 centimeters. And she said that most likely I would be on iodine radiation after, and that's because they give iodine radiation to anyone whose cancer growth is bigger than 2.5 centimeters. And again, mine was 3.3 centimeters. So during this appointment, she also did a procedure where she numbed my nasal passageways, and then she went in there to see my vocal cords. She didn't tell me if it spread to my vocal cords though, so I don't even know there. I'm editing the video now, but I realized that I misspoke about some things, so I want to clear them up. One is that after the ENT specialist, Dr. Suh of the Scarless Robotic Surgery called me to kind of go over my case and identify if I was going to be a candidate for the Scarless surgery. And after speaking with him, he decided, yeah, you'd be a perfect candidate. And so he asked if I wanted to do a traditional thyroidectomy surgery, which is where they cut right here, or if I wanted to do the Scarless robotic surgery. And so the way that it works is if I wanted to do traditional, I would be working with the Clayman Thyroid Center. And if I wanted to do the robotic Scarless, I would be working with obviously Dr. Suh, who does the robotic surgery. And the reason for that is they work kind of together, and so depending on if the patient wants a traditional, they get referred to the Clayman, and if a patient wants the Scarless, then they get referred to Dr. Suh. So after deciding that I did want to do the Scarless surgery, I was referred to Dr. Suh, and then he took care of me from there on out. And I have a lot of good footage. I have an interview actually with him that I recorded today. So that is to come in the near future. So if you're interested in learning more about thyroid cancer or the robotic surgery, then make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe. That's kind of the update about how this has happened and progressed. And I'm so thankful for TikTok and, them kind of alerting me and being so supportive and loving and caring enough to say, hey, go get your thyroid checked out. So the power of TikTok, the power of the internet, the power of the people when we come together. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have questions, I welcome all and any questions down below. I'll make following videos to address them. I love you all. Have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.